Salam sejahtera, Anda bersama saya Reza Zulkafli dan ini Niaga Awani. Kita mulakan Niaga Awani dengan perkembangan politik dalam negara dan bagaimana ia akan beri kesan kepada dagangan bursa Malaysia dan juga ringgit pada minggu ini. Lewat malam semalam, Jemaah Menteri diumum akan berbincang dengan lebih lanjut susulan titah yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah untuk tidak laksana darurat di negara ini atau mana-mana bahagian di Malaysia. Dalam masa yang sama, Perdana Menteri Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin dalam satu kenyataan turut memberi jaminan bahawa keutamaan Jemaah Menteri dan juga kerajaan pada ketika ini ialah untuk melindungi rakyat daripada COVID-19. Al-Sultan Abdullah dalam satu kenyataan pada petang Ahad menitahkan tiada keperluan untuk mengisytiharkan darurat di negara ini atau mana-mana bahagian di Malaysia buat masa ini. Dalam masa yang sama, Seri Paduka Baginda turut menegaskan bahawa Belanjawan Negara 2021 yang akan dibentangkan pada 6 November ini adalah amat penting kepada rakyat dalam menangani wabak COVID-19 dan memulihkan ekonomi negara. Dan untuk melihat kepada kesan perkembangan politik negara pada minggu ini kepada pasaran dan juga ringgit, kita bersama Ketua Strategi Pasaran Global XZ, Stephen Ines yang bersama kita dengan Skype dari Bangkok. Stephen, how would this new political development, this no state of emergency, affect the ringgit against the US dollar this week? What are investors saying about this?
Well, obviously there's going to be an immediate panic because just the term state of emergency itself has horrible connotations, especially, when you're mixing COVID and politics together. It's just a really bad cocktail. And that's really the way the markets were viewing it. However, this belies the fact that foreign exchange markets tend to trade on policy. What I'm referring to is central bank policies, along with government policies. Now, sure, the state of emergency would have been a knee-jerk negative for the ringgit. Ultimately, however, the Bank Negara would have dropped interest rates to anchor the front end of the curve, providing some relief to the capital outflows and attracting more bond inflows. Obviously, there's a bit of a concern here that there could be some downgrade of the ratings because there's a lot of external debt. But you have to look at these things objectively. Right now, we're in a situation where governments are really forced to increase fiscal spending, raise deficits. It's not unusual for economies or for countries to run huge deficits right now to combat this COVID. They're forced to. Would this have tipped the point to where there would have been triggered a massive outflow? I don't think so. I think the BNM would have been there to back the markets up. Traders are also focused on the Communist Party plenary today in China, which is probably going to paint a very favorable picture for the Asian economies going forward. And the yuan is strengthening. I think the ringgit takes a lot of its fortitude from China in the sense that it's a major export economy there. So yes, there would have been a knee-jerk reaction. Would the market have come back? Well, they always seem to in political risk. Political risk never seems to have a lot of legs when it comes to currency markets.
So would the ringgit be affected mostly by external factors or internal factors?
Right now, it's right now the internal factors are a little bit hard to ignore because you have that rise in COVID, which plays negatively into the employment sector because the thought here is more lockdowns, more business closures, what have you. People have less money to spend, or people that have money aren't going to spend it, and this is a problem. It feeds through that unvirtuous cycle loop. However, right now, the big focus is external because of the U.S. Elections and the thought of a blue wave stimulus package, which unquestionably would be great for exporters of commodities like Malaysia. This should be quite favorable. And also the fact it's going to refocus again on Federal Reserve policy, where the Feds are keeping interest rates relatively low. And since Malaysia's real yields are relatively high compared to the U.S. real yields, which are in negative territory, this is quite favorable for bond inflows in Malaysia. The ringgit arguably remains undervalued relative to other currencies in the basket, and there is a sense that we could see a pickup play, provided this never-ending cloud that seems to hang over us when it comes to politics in Malaysia intensifies even further. That's always something we have to be concerned about going forward when investing in Malaysian ringgit and other capital market assets in Malaysia.
And during our discussions with many experts last weekend, many have voiced their concerns that this new political development could affect investor confidence, especially when investors are looking for a stable growth area to invest in. Do you think this political development would affect investor confidence?
Short term, it always does. We see this even going into elections. That there's an element of uncertainty in the political landscape. It affects investor decision. But does it affect investor decision over the long term? No. Investors seek assets that are going to get a return. If they view the Malaysia landscape as an undervalued pocket of interest that they possibly could move into after they've had their fill up of China, well, I think Malaysia is going to look quite favorable. I think it will. I think it's going to continue to resonate. I see more foreign direct investment coming to Malaysia. I think the infrastructure situation looks great. If you look from foreign corporations' perspective, when they go to invest in Asia, they look for a stable political landscape first. Well, we don't have one completely in Malaysia, but that's not to say it's going to remain where it is for the next year. But one of the big benefits is the multilingual aspect of Malaysia, where it caters to a lot of multi-languages, especially English is well used. This is great as far as foreign corporations who normally transact in English, and this is good. These things really set the backdrop most favorably for Malaysia in the broader context.
The spending bill is to be tabled next week. Would a bipartisan support for the supply bill create a strong impression for investors who are following this development?
This is vital. This is perhaps the key for the emergency, the table of the state of emergency, was to ensure we didn't get a snap election, which could have disrupted possibly tabling that bill. Now, these are issues that you have to look at through a positive lens, not necessarily a negative lens. They have to pass this 2021 budget, which is very, very key. If it goes through favorably, and it looks like it's doing a good job covering Main Street's back, and also providing a decent stimulus impulse to the markets, this will be most welcomed by foreign investors who will start to come back again. But remember, my big impulse and the big focus in the Asian landscape is just China. I mean, all roads lead through China eventually. China's looking good. By proxy, lots of other Asian assets and Asian countries look good.
And how would investors and the Bursa Malaysia react? Would investors and the Bursa Malaysia react strongly if there's a big political shift in the government?
Initially, we saw it the last election when we had the surprise from when the former Prime Minister Najib got knocked out. The markets reacted quite negatively, international markets, whereas the markets at home were quite happy because they got to pick up a lot of, that sell-off. So, the Malaysia's a mature capital of markets now in relative terms to where it was a decade ago. Huge insurance company presence, huge financial firm presence. I think the local financial developments and local financial infrastructures and all the big waves of money that sit in Malaysia will compensate over the short term for that short-term negative outflow.
And what do you make of the debate that happened on Friday, and how will that affect trading this week, especially when it's less than 2 weeks before the US presidential election? Will markets in the US continue to be affected by these long discussions concerning the stimulus package, or will investors focus on other data, say, for example, the third quarter GDP numbers and the weekly jobless figures on Thursday?
Yeah, those will definitely come to the fore, but I think investors are continue to focus on noise coming out of Washington, not necessarily the stimulus voice, because that's, it's a little bit late in the game for a pre-election stimulus, so low markets would revel if they got it. I think where the concerns are now moving off to are what happens post-election. Okay, we know we're going to get a stimulus. What size is that stimulus going to first be delivered? Is it closer to 2 trillion or the promised land of 3.4 trillion? But my fear is the markets are going to then immediately pivot back to Biden policies, which encompass a heavy dose of regulatory base on tech firms and oil companies. And this is something we have to factor in, along with the fact taxes are going to rise. Corporate taxes especially, individual taxes, but more worrisome for markets is the capital gains taxes. And these are concerns that markets are going to have to deal with. So all this is going to come to loggerheads, after the election. Now, This is assuming we get a blue wave because we've still seen the polls be incredibly wrong. Although this time around, if they're wrong by a margin of error that's pointing to a favorable win or to a convincing win by the Democrats, I think polling companies should just stop providing polls because they don't make any sense. But there is a thought here that the silent vote, that, or what they refer to as the shy vote for Trump, could come through, and this could be a little bit more tightly contested than what the polls are leading on. And I think this is why the markets are still trading or trending a little bit gingerly.
Do you believe the volatility index would probably increase as we move closer to November 3rd?
It has. I mean, this is just the modus operandi. About 5 weeks out, it starts to tick up. The election day is volatility high for that price date and for a few days after. But if we move into the realm of a contested election, that's where the problems really start to morph. And I think that's where volatility will pick up, because we don't know how long that contested election would move on to. Would it move to December when the Electoral College votes, or would it move on further if it moves into the realm of a legal contested election? So there's lots of stuff really still at risk on the table here that's going to keep investors quite nervous on the lead up, but also post U.S. election. Still a lot to consider.
And Stephen, COVID-19 cases have continued to increase. More countries in Europe have taken measures to stop the spread of COVID-19. Will the sentiment in these markets influence Southeast Asia?
To a degree, because remember that some economies export into Europe, which is a huge concern because they don't have that export market that they thrive on because people are locked down. That is a big concern. But generally, I think the levels we're at right now, the measures aren't draconian as such. So it doesn't look like they're impacting mobility restrictions right now to a large degree. But the fear is if these become more stringent and they become legislated lockdowns where they start impacting people's spending behaviors and also force more closures of businesses. This is really what we've got to keep our eye on, not necessarily the level we're at now, but can these levels intensify and cause more disruption to the economy? This is the wall of worry that we're actually facing around this second and third wave of COVID-19.
Thank you very much, Stephen Ines. Stephen Ines, Ketua Strategi Pasaran Global Axi, membincangkan berkenaan dengan pasaran dan juga bagaimanakah politik domestik akan memberikan kesan kepada pasaran dan juga ringgit bergerak ke hadapan. Kita akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini dengan perkembangan belanjawan 2021.